are again for another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We're happy to have you with us, and we're happy to have you come along with us on this little journey down the Trump road. We're going to be talking about some things that have been going on in the news that are very idiotic in their nature, but then that's the news media. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and we're going to be investigating a few things of our own and taking a very close look at why Donald Trump is the way he is. I was looking at telly the other night, and they were going on about how much Bitchery Clinton has spent as far as her television ads, and how much was spent as far as the people that support her super PACs and all of this. And then they went on to talk about what Bernie Sanders had spent in his ads and what have you. And then they got around to Donald Trump, naturally, and began to belittle him as to how much or how little he has spent, and whether or not that's the good course for him, and just everything to impugn and malign and downtrod the fellow, which has become the norm in this political disaster, is what I call it. Never in my lifetime have I seen such a creepy mess. The hatred of one man because he doesn't follow the beaten path. He goes off in his own trajectory, and a lot of people are coming to realize that it is one to be considered. If they're not full-fledged on board with what he says, they must admit it should be a point of consideration. You look at what he said regarding Muslims, that there should be a ban on them, a temporary ban until we can further understand what they're all about, where they're coming from, whether or not they're coming in here with, their hand extended in a possible friendship, or extended with a gun to blow your brains out. Whether or not they've got, just extra clothing under their long garments, or whether they got a bomb up there to blow you from here to smithereens. People are beginning to understand that what the man says bears credence. It bears a good long thought. There were political analysts that I listened to, I guess about 2-3 months ago. And they were saying that Trump's campaign is one for the books. It's one to be watched because they've never seen anything like that before. He is operating in a new fangled way that is really benefiting his candidacy. He uses social media. He uses television. Yeah, he doesn't have to spend as much because he makes the media come to him. He either says something or he does something, and they want to flock to it. And so he doesn't have to spend that much money. That's smart. That's very smart. I applaud the guy. And with everything he does in that vein, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he should be the president. Because he knows how to generate things, make things happen, unlike the slime pot, the shitbag that we have in there at present. Now, they were talking about him not making commercials and spending up his money for all that. Okay, here's what I'm thinking the man is having in his mind. First of all, he doesn't know that the grand old party is fully behind him and what crap they may pull next month at their convention. See, he could have gone all this way, bringing in more voters for the Republican Party than anyone in history, doing all this work, all of this groundwork, Donald Trump really making it happen, and then at the last minute, they pull some pitiful mess out of left field to become the nominee. Okay, now he's spent up all his money. They've cheated him out of the possible presidency or candidacy, and there he sits with bloody nothing. No, he's not doing that. He's playing it, as he's always done, very close to the vest until he is sure he can solidify what he is after. Once that is done, then yeah, sure, watch his speed, watch his smoke, watch the dollar signs go up. I don't blame the man. This political arena is too crooked, it's too corrupt for him to work his brains out trying to raise money, spend his own money, and come up empty-handed. Everything the man does is under great scrutiny, naturally, by the news media. And I'm telling you something about that news media. They need to disband and just dry up. They are some of the most childish idiots that I've ever seen in this many years. I liken them to, I won't even put second graders down that bad, kindergarten students. Tattletales. Oh, you spilled the glue on the table. I'm gonna tell teacher. Oh, you don't have the, you're not supposed to have the scissors. I'm gonna tell the teacher. Oh, you got a body of a chair. I'm gonna tell the teacher. Oh, he fired his campaign manager. Oh, I'm gonna tell the public. Oh, he did. I've gotten it from a pretty legitimate source that whatever Donald does, he does it with a plan in mind. Lewandowski was there during the primary juncture of his candidacy, and he did it well, even with him being lied upon by this whore, this news whore, that claimed that he hurled her to the floor and hurt her and all this kind of garbage. They even put it out that the wife of Donald Trump was disengaged with Corey Lewandowski because he hit that woman and she didn't like him anymore. His kids ousted the man out because he wasn't good for the... That's not true. According to this news source that I have painstakingly gone over and over every little news bite, every little tidbit, they're claiming it's not true, and I have a tendency to believe them because systematically everything that is Donald Trump is negative. Not one thing can I remember in recent history after his announcement of his candidacy has been positive. It's all been negative. Corey led Donald up and through and successfully in the primaries. Now his job is done. It's now time for him to shift gears for the general election and how that is going to go. So they bring forth a new person. That's what that was about. Because even Mr. Lewandowski got on, public air and said that he would be still willing to support Donald in whatever he needs to do in his future endeavors. He's there for him. But his job is done, was to guide him and lead him through the primaries. News media. Stupid as hell. Can't stand the smell. Now, for this mudslinging and all this crap, let's look to the automotive world for a second. I'm sure all of you know of the beautiful motor car called the Rolls-Royce. How many times do you see it advertised anywhere? You see commercial ads on telly for Rolls-Royce? Do you hear radio ads on Pandora or what's that other one, Sirius or XM regarding the Rolls-Royce? Do you see newspaper ads? No. Rolls-Royce is an established name in the automotive world, in the aircraft world, and they don't need to come on telly or anywhere else every 15 seconds. Oh, buy a Rolls-Royce. It's the greatest car in the world. Buy a Rolls-Royce. People know when you hear the name Rolls-Royce, it conjures up all kinds of luxurious, elegant visions of their cars past, present, and future. Same applies to Donald Trump. Why does he have to spend millions of dollars, double-digit millions of dollars, maybe triple-digit millions of dollars, speaking on the subject of Hillary Clinton when everybody knows she's a bitch, everybody knows she's a shitbag, everybody knows that she's not worth spit? Why should he have to spend up his money telling people what they already know? The guy is smart. Let her spend all her money. Yeah, I'm sure he has, a lot of ammunition against those dirt bags. Who doesn't? And when the proper time comes, I would imagine he's going to go after her with, everything he's got. But now is not the time. Let her fizzle herself out. Let her burn up all her money. The time is not yet. Donald knows that. He's a businessman. He knows the world of business and how to make the deals and when not to make the deal. And that's why he's gotten as far as he has in the business world. Was it perfect? No. Nobody's business world is. Check with Warren Buffett. I'm pretty sure he may have been sued a few times. I don't know that he's gone through bankruptcy because it wasn't publicized. But then again, Warren Buffett hasn't run for president. It seems that when you run for president, everybody digs up every nasty thing they can find on you or when you die. Case in point, look at Michael Jackson. Now they supposedly come up with all this evidence about him, pictures and of naked children and tortured animals and all this stuff. Boulder Dash. If they had it, they would have used it to prosecute him. And what good, even if it were true, what good would it do now? Were they supposed to dig him up out the grave, cuff him and throw him in his rotting carcass in jail? Stupid. Idiotic. Same thing applies. All rich people have taken ventures. Some have been successful, some have been failures. You can't succeed unless you fail sometimes. You learn from your failures and you move on. That's what Donald Trump has done. So yeah, is he going to spend up $300-400 million talking about some whore that everybody already knows about? Some disgusting bitch who shouldn't even be running for president? She herself said of Mr. Scuzzbag Omar Mateen, anybody who's being investigated by the FBI shouldn't be allowed to have guns. Well, anybody who's being investigated by the FBI should not be allowed to run for president. Bitchery Clinton, you disgusting piece of crap. So Donald knows this. So why would he spend a dime, exposing something? Everybody already knows. Smart man. Very smart man. What's going to happen at this convention? I really do not know. I shudder to think. But I would hate to see that this man has worked as hard as he has and then have somebody just snatch it away from him in a heartbeat. But it could happen because these bastards are corrupt. They make their own rules and then they make changes on the rules that they made. They're too corrupt. I would love to see both of them go down into the depths of hell and kiss Satan on the ass when they get there. The GOP and the Democratic Party. Every time you hear somebody say something or every time you hear something out of their mouths, it's about the party. Oh, well, I don't know about Donald Trump being in there because he could screw things up for the party down the road, for us keeping our cushy jobs where we make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and do nothing. He could mess that up. I've been in there, in the Congress, in the Senate, and I've buried 9 presidents, and I'm still there making stupid, asinine decisions. And somebody like Donald Trump will come along and mess that up for me in the party. What about the people of this United States? What about the people that are hurting out there? That they don't have enough money to buy food, don't have enough money to provide themselves with decent shelter. Our veterans are going hungry and dying of their ailments because of some idiotic government, some idiotic politicians feathering their own nests. That's what the grand old party and what the Democratic Party is all about. Feathering their nests so that they can keep their cushy jobs. It's time for that to stop. But it won't because America has become too diluted. They even want to make mention about Bernie Sanders and him, getting all of this Secret Service coverage, knowing full well that he's not going to be a president. So why doesn't he just bow out and save American taxpayers the money of the Secret Service watching him? Yeah, I kind of felt that way too. But then I got to thinking about it. Bernie Sanders is an American man running for the top seat in the American government. And if he doesn't want to bow to the bitch and he wants to keep on going, then he should. Until he's exhausted every available way of making his position known. And if you want to, take away his right to have the Secret Service guard him, and you're so concerned about the money being spent for that, why aren't you concerned about the money that is being spent on these damn foreigners coming over here? Programs having money being poured into them to the tune of almost $500,000 so that they can have their ethnic fruits and vegetables at their disposal at the local farmers markets and at the local grocery stores. Why aren't you saying something about that? Bernie Sanders is an American, whether you like him or not. He's an American and he has every right to stay in there as long as he sees fit to be in there for his constituency. Put the blame where the blame should be. He should be the nominee for the Democratic Party. He's not being investigated by the FBI. He hasn't killed four in Benghazi. He hasn't been a nasty, sleazy whore like the Bitchery Clinton and her stupid blowjob husband. So it should be Bernie Sanders against Trump. But we live in a crooked world. We live in a crooked society where the nasty sow belly of the earth gets the praise and the hard-working person gets the curse. So back to Donald Trump. No, I don't blame him for not wasting a dime on commercials about this bitch. We all know she's a nasty, sleazy whore bitch. We don't need to be reminded of that. We're reminded of that every time we see her ugly, wrinkled face on the telly or in newspapers or on the internet. So good on you, Donald, for guarding what you know, guarding your game. You're a businessman and you're using that savvy business skill to your advantage, and I applaud you for it. Keep on going, Trump. You know what you're doing. Well, let's check in with the exec before we close out this show. Exec, you got anything interesting over there?
Well, just echoing what you said, agreeing with it, and giving my own spin on it as usual, I guess. You're right about Trump, not needing to spend money on something that's pointless. As a businessman, he doesn't spend money on stuff he knows it isn't going to, number one, make him a profit, because that's not going to happen. That's not profit generating. Number two, isn't going to help his money, accumulate more money. That's how businessmen work. They make investments that give them more capital on what they spent, capital, investing, or at least a capital gain on what they spent, and spending money on something like that when everybody already knows how creepy she is, and then she got people murdered in Benghazi. And speaking of that, I don't know why you want to murder her in the White House, and a robber going around stealing from the White House should have been blackballed from there. I've said it many times before. I'm sorry for repeating myself, but that shows you the genius of Trump. Ever since his campaign started, he supposedly listed his net worth, or it could have been looked up online if you wished at the time. It was $4 billion. Ever since then and up to right now, he's already made 5.5 million more on top of that. So pretty soon, maybe in the same amount of time since he first started and to right now, he might go up to 5 billion. He does investments and he knows how to keep his money rolling, and he wants to try to bring that same knowledge to the economy. And I don't know why everybody's so against him with his media saying he's doing something wrong. He's, in their opinion, I'm not saying this my way because I've been thinking he's been doing right all this time, but in their opinion, they're probably saying, they're thinking he's finally doing something right, but they're too stupid to actually realize it and say that it's a good thing he's not wasting money like that. He can't even do right and get, commended for it. It doesn't make any sense. And, these Congress and the Republicans and Democrats, they've never been for us. They've always been for themselves because, like as you mentioned, because if they were trying to help us, then things would have already be better. We wouldn't be complaining, trying to get someone else, and everything would be affordable and life would be easier. So that proves just by that fact alone that they've never had Americans' better interests at heart. And you're totally right about them being there. You know, people say dinosaurs don't exist, so I disagree. All them people that've been in there, like you said, you know, going through 9 presidents, those are dinosaurs. They don't need to be in office anymore. We need someone new and fresh and everything. And it's just crazy how they treat this person when, you know, all the things he's saying. If you don't disagree with some of them, like you alluded to earlier, at least some of it you should be listening to and giving a chance, you know. It's just everybody's so against this one person. You and I were saying to ourselves, you know, if he gets in office, he probably won't last too long because there's enough crazy people seeing how against him they are with these rallies and you know, protesting it, that he would probably, you know, get assassinated after he got in office. Well, that's already happening before he got in office.
Yeah,
some person that was supposedly mentally deranged and tried to assassinate him. They showed him being dragged out by the security.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just insane how nuts people can get. You know, I know if you don't like the way something's going, you don't have to go and kill someone. That's just drastic measures. You know, John Wilkes Booth and all them other people that either attempted or did assassinate the president, obviously couldn't have been mentally stable, because taking someone's life just because of what they're supposedly causing you to do, I'm sure they're not, you know, killing your family or something that would cause, you know, extreme vengeance against them. They're just making life a little bit more difficult for you than you expected. And it has to be a messed up mind to go and literally take someone from their own family. That's the worst thing in life I think you can do, is murder someone. And they're already trying to do that even before he gets in office. It's just the mental stability and status of people nowadays for simple things such as running for presidency has just gone really literally down the toilet. You know, these people are just insane and just so against something when he's trying to actually do the right thing. He doesn't want foreigners in here. He doesn't want Muzzies / potential, you know, murderers or ISIS followers in here to bring more death to this country. And time again, something happens and it proves him right, that we don't need them in here. And they're just so against that. Like, they just want America to be destroyed. They want stuff like what, you know, O'Bastard's been doing to continue with Hillary or Bitchery, and that doesn't make any sense to me. There's so many people against America by acting that way and being that way. There are a lot of anti-Americans. You know, if you don't like that and you want these foreigners here to come and help, then you should maybe go and accept them some in your home and see how you like it, if you love them so much, or go back to their own country and help them out over there where they are. You know, it's just really insane how people react nowadays to stuff. It wasn't like that back in the days in Abraham Lincoln time, when people actually were honest politicians and probably a lot more honest people. It's just crazy. And that's all I have to say on that.
Well, you know, going back to the news media, they are the worst of the worst when it comes to reporting or, you know, giving us what they figure is the news. They're so slanted towards Democrats, and it's more than evident every day when you listen at them on telly or when you read them in periodicals or newspapers. It's ridiculous. They would have you believe that this bitch Clinton is so ahead of Trump in the polls and all of this kind of thing. They would have you believe that this bitch Clinton is running such a good and wonderful campaign. You see, Donald has come in with this newfangled way of running a campaign. They can't even comprehend what the man is doing. It's different. It's not the same old political muck and mire and crap that is usually running campaigns. You know, he comes in, he speaks his mind, he tells the truth, the people are behind him, and, you know, he's running his campaign his own way. And they should allow him to do that without ridiculing or criticizing the man, or just in general bothering him. You know, sometimes when we would, I as a teacher ran a theater arts department, and when the kids would do a big theatrical, you know, production and finish it, and they come to fruition with a big box office attendance and what have you, I would give them some time off. I'd give them a week off, and then we'd get right back to work. Well, this week would be kickback week, and they would play video games or Monopoly or whatever it was they wanted to do, or they could, you know, study their script. Some of them would do a little choreography for the next show, whatever it was they wanted to do. They had freedom at it. And I'd get a lot of kids, they would be playing PlayStation, and they'd be playing a game. No, you do it this way. Why are you doing it like that? You're not supposed to do it like that. I do it this way. And then they would come and they would tell me about it. I said, I don't want to hear that. Whose turn is it? Well, it's his turn. I said, well, then let him play his game his way. And then when it's your turn, you play the game your way. You can't make somebody else play the game your way. It's their way. It's their campaign. It's their money being spent. It's their ideals that are trying to be achieved. And yet the news media is too stupid to realize that. They take something, anything the man does. I think he could fart and they would make a negative of that. But while this bitch goes around and does every nasty thing under the sun, falls into bed with anybody that is willing to fund her campaign, and nobody ever says anything negative towards her, not in the way they say it about Donald Trump. Her negativity is this. No, this. His negativity is this. You can't even see the bottom. Unfair. But through all of it, the man keeps chugging along in the Trump train. And I hope he sees it right through to the grandest depot he could ever stop that train at would be the White House. Keep on going, Donald, in spite of these bastards, in spite of the Democrats, in spite of the Republicans, in spite of the establishment, in spite of the jackasses. Keep that train moving, and anything that gets in your way, don't stop the train, run them over. We thank you for joining the Phil Taylor Jones Show, and we're happy to have you with us as always. If you'd like to become a subscriber, the button is right there. Give it a little tap and we'll be happy you did. And once again, if you have a subject that you'd like to hear us weigh in on, please drop us a line. Or if there's something that is very special to you that you'd like to hear us address, again, drop us a line. We'd be happy to get that out for you. Stay safe. Stay somewhat joyful in this crazy world. And please watch out for your families, because everybody in this country is not our friend. And we know that. Just look at Orlando. Look at San Bernardino. Stay safe and keep tabs on each other. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.